or rather it was raining gains there as well. We managed to gain for a third consecutive week. We've remained, however, in a range for the last 10 trading sessions, but that's okay. I mean, practically, optically, Nikunj, we are continuing to hold on to those gains. The FIs continue to buy into India equities, so I don't think it's problematic.
Yeah, it's the same narrative, Aisha. The same narrative which was there, let's say, the beginning of the June, on the last week of May, that same narrative continues. The narrative end of May was FIs are buying, India is outperforming, flows are coming back from China into India, domestic institutional investors are getting flows via the SIP route. The average Joe on the street is excited, and there is still a FOMO which is at play. The credit policy is over, and now markets will look forward to the new event, which is FOMC. I guess somewhere there are the single most differentiating factor for the month of June is going to be every day we're going to be getting up and looking up and checking the progress of monsoon. Now the monsoon this time has been delayed. Will that have a net impact on how the entire crop sowing season would move? And will this have an impact on the way how the demand is likely to move? That, I think, is the single most differentiating factor. While it has covered parts of southern India, it has reached Mumbai, but some would argue and say that this kind of a delay historically has been an impediment when it comes to rural demand. So fingers crossed that the onset of monsoon has started, then the progress is going to be soon. Progress is going to be a swift one. But frankly, if you ask me, from a market standpoint, this is the single most important differentiating factor.
Oh yes, indeed. We will, of course, be constantly monitoring the updates when it comes to the monsoon and, of course, keeping you abreast with all those latest news bits. But a quick check-in on the global markets. And yes, you did have, for the most part, the US markets, which wrapped up in positive. It's been a great week for the S&P 500, for instance, which has seen its fourth straight week of gains and close to its highest point since the month of August. You also have the Dow Jones as well as the NASDAQ, which managed to end up in the green for the week gone by, that is. Mixed for the Asian screen this morning, of course, watching out for cues from the US FOMC later on, as well as the ECB meet that's going to take place Thursday, and Bank of Japan meet at the end of the week. But apart from mapping out the levels that the major indices closed in on, what's critical to note, Nikunj, is the fact that you've got those FPI flows that have been maintained so far when it comes to India. On a month-to-date basis, if we're mapping out what we've seen in the other regions of emerging markets, India flows have managed to sustain, but will it continue?
No, it will continue. That's the view which we've been maintaining, that I don't see a reason why flows should move out. We have to put everything in context here. You would ask yourself is that what happened in 2022 and what's happened in the first half of 2023. By and large, if you look at the total aggregate picture for Indian FI flows for YTD, the number is not a very large number. And if I add that, and if I add last year's net selling, in last 12 to 18 months, the total net outflows from Indian markets by foreign institutional investors is at some kind of a record high. There is a level of desperation which is there in foreign institutional investors. Other markets are not giving you that kind of a return. The comeback to China and buy the cheap Chinese stock trade, that I think is behind us. There is a late, sudden and a clear realization that India is the only place where you want to be in terms of the FI positioning. So what do you do in this kind of a market? I think if you are long, stay long. Again, I'll say that. The best part of the summer rally, that is not behind us. I guess individually this market is now entering what could be called as a rotation mode. So I will not be surprised that now underperforming stocks will start outperforming. We've seen that how auto has made a comeback. And I think more and more underperforming stocks, I think, will start outperforming. So I will not be surprised that the next couple of days you will see NBFCs, you will see beaten down heavyweights like HDFC Bank and Reliance, they will come back. So you have to realize that markets were here, these heavyweight stocks were here. Markets have gone here, the heavyweight stocks are still here. So they have to normalize with the level of the market. So they have to simply catch up. That's law of averages. That's how allocation moves. Large part of the flows which come to India are actually ETF dominated. What is ETF? Exchange traded fund. They don't look at the color of the money. They look at the color of the index. And that's how money actually moves. And that's what my understanding is. So I think if you frankly ask me for rest of the June, what are the triggers? Monsoon, rotation back into large cap stocks, and underperforming Nifty stocks, I think they should catch up.
Yeah, but this week